Oh, figured I'd do another video, I guess. Some people might think this stuff's interesting. It's back when I was in prison. To kind of illustrate the life. So, when I got into my home institution at Clallam Bay in Sequim, Washington, one of the things they do in prison is you have to have good paperwork when you get there. So for instance, I remember one day I was sitting there having breakfast in my cell because everything was still kind of shut down from COVID. And so they didn't have the cafeteria open because normally the weight room is closed too, and the library, and like all the normal prison activities were closed down because of COVID. Because it was still like as soon as I got arrested for attempted murder, COVID began. Like it began within a couple weeks of me getting arrested, and that's a whole nother story. Like, anyway, I'm not saying that it was related, but anyway, I'll just leave that out of it. It was like, it seemed to be supernatural timing, to say the least, is when COVID started. It seemed to be supernaturally timed with my own incarceration, of course, due to my actions, but ultimately, I believe, by the will of God. But one of the things that happens when you get into prison, at least it did for me, and it does, this is what happens, is you have to have good paperwork. So, while I was sitting there having breakfast one day, somebody who either didn't have good paperwork, which I believe I heard that was the case at the end. So I'm sitting there in my cell having breakfast because we would go out to the cafeteria and pick up our breakfast and lunches and dinners, and then we'd bring it back to our cell because everything was still shut down. And I had a nice view of the walkway where people would go. Like, I had a view outdoor, I had a nice view outdoor, bottom ground floor, so I could like watch people coming and going wherever they were going back and forth to the cafeteria or whatever. And this one guy, I'm not sure if he survived or not, but he ended up getting beat badly, and like blood splat. I'm sitting there eating breakfast, this guy's getting his beaten bad right out in front of my window. And I'm on the other side of the window eating breakfast, and blood is literally spattering across my window. And so I heard that was because he had bad paperwork, like he was a pedophile or someone who did violence to women or something of that nature. And so he was murdered, or he survived, I'm not sure. But that blood stayed on my window for a couple days till I got sick of looking at it. And then I cleaned it up when I was transferring or going back and forth from my room to yard. I ended up wiping that down. That's one of the things they did to me as soon as I got into my home institution, general population. The Aryan Brotherhood came to me and said, look, we got to check your papers. And I said, I don't have them yet. And they let me know, who I need to talk to get my papers, because they said, and this is standard. This happens in jail and prison. If you have bad paperwork, you either need to, if you're lucky, you have an opportunity to go check into protective custody or request a different pod. Or if you're not as fortunate, they'll just kill you or beat your ass right there. And that's one of the requirements, if you're a member, especially of the Aryan Brotherhood the other gangs as well, that if you're a child molester or something, you're just killed. And it's a requirement for the members of that gang to do those hits. And so luckily, I had good paperwork as far as I was defending an older female from the attacks of another human being. That's what ended up getting me in prison. I was defending an older female friend of mine, so that's excellent paperwork. So I never had a problem in jail, and I never had a problem in prison with those charges. As a matter of fact, it kind of ended up getting me like some street cred, because that's like, it's not as good as shooting a cop, but like it's good, right? If you're acting in defense of a female or something like that, you do violence to somebody, that gives you street credibility, and that gives you credibility in the jail and institution, like immediately. But so as soon as I landed, the leader of the Woods came up to me and said, "Look, we need to get your paperwork. I'm already having somebody check on it, but I need to see the hard copies, because as soon as you land, they'll have people like on the phone and everything, check in, see what the charges were. This guy, they get his name, they're on the phone like as soon as you land." But everything was good. I finally got my paperwork handed to him. He said, "Yeah, we already checked you out. You're good. Otherwise, we've already taken care of it already. So just let me know if you need any dope or anything like that. We got a couple of the guards on the payroll here, and we bring in whatever you need, man. If you want some crack, you want some coke, you want some heroin, whatever you need, we can get it for you. Just let us know." And I said, "No, I'm trying to get off that stuff." They're like, all right, cool. But they ended up hooking me up with a TV for free. Normally, I would have had to rent it from the establishment, but they had one of the people who was shipping out. They had the old TV, so they hooked me up with a TV for free, and that was all good. So I guess we'll just leave that right there. I guess another quick little prison tale for people to enjoy, I suppose. Yeah, what the heck.